To our last story. When we first profiled Bea Koepke and Kendall French, they were in the middle of an ugly battle with a country club in San Diego. As she had done for years, Bea was trying to get her club to extend to Kendall, her life partner, the same golf privileges the club extended to those couples who were married. But she was getting nowhere. In the belief that the club's position was rooted in sexual discrimination, Koepke reluctantly took her fight to court. And that's where we left her a year ago. Only a recent resolution of the case sent our Armin Katayan back for another meeting with Bea and Kendall.
When we first met Bea Koepke in September of 2004, she was on her way to do what she did every Monday night, play golf. Her club in North San Diego County was in between work and home, and on nights like this one, there was nothing she'd rather be doing. But Koepke, who used to be one of the most popular players here at Bernardo Heights Country Club, was playing alone. A pariah at a place she used to call home.
I tee off like 6:30 and I'm done at 8:30. Play 18 holes by myself.
You play by yourself
and
now.
You know, that's fine, as long as I get to play the game.
But Bea, it's gotten to the point where you have to go on a Monday night and you're playing by yourself.
Yeah, that's what it turned into.
What it had turned into was a culture war where once again a golf course had become the battleground for social change. This time over the civil rights of same-sex couples, with Koepke and her partner, Kendall French, leading a fight they spent years trying to avoid.
We're gay, but, you know, we don't identify ourselves as gay women. We're human like everybody else.
We really felt that there was a compromise somewhere.
Yeah. We're not politically driven. We're not activists. We don't have an agenda. Let us play golf and let's get on with life.
Koepke and French have lived together since 1993, and being active has long been a big part of their relationship. They are each other's sole beneficiaries and are registered with the state as domestic partners.
It's as close as we can get to being married in the state of California.
But since they were not legally married, club bylaws stated that Koepke and French were not entitled to the same free and unlimited golfing privileges as straight couples who were. So even though Koepke was a full member, she could only play with French 6 times a year and had to pay a $75 guest fee each and every time.
If you were married, if you had married a man...
Right, then I would have had full privileges, unlimited golf for the spouse and the children.
And that's the difficulty.
You give us a criteria that we can never meet.
Right.
Ever.
And that wasn't all. According to the bylaws, when Koepke dies, she'll lose her equity stake in the club. That's because the $18,000 she spent to join Bernardo Heights in 1987 can only be willed to a legal spouse or child.
But they were never saying you couldn't be a member.
They were willing to sell Kendall a membership.
Right. What married couple in that club would like to pay twice for the membership and twice for the dues? To me, that's economic discrimination.
Right.
So in 1996, Koepke set about to see if she could get the club to change its rules. Her initial proposal, a significant other policy that also addressed the concerns of several of the older members at the club.
I figured if they would let widows and widowees and the other single members have a buddy system, then we could just slide underneath that and we wouldn't have to make it gay, because I know that made it uncomfortable for them and we didn't even want to go there.
The board of directors considered Koepke's suggestion and even presented it to the full membership, but not before making one key change. To qualify as a significant other, the person had to be of the opposite sex of the member.
And that really took the wind out of our sails. You know, it has to be of the opposite sex. And so, okay, there's no way that we're going to...
They were targeting us. They knew we couldn't get there.
What do you think the club was so afraid of?
I think that this would appear to them that if they allowed us, they were making a moral decision, that now they are in favor of homosexuality.
Koepke and French had not always been outsiders at Bernardo Heights. A successful TV executive in San Diego, Bea had become one of the best players at the club. She and French, who at the time was a customer care executive in the automotive industry, entertained clients at Bernardo Heights and played regularly with other members.
Well, there'd be as many as 20 of us having dinner at the bar and having fun, and we were very much a part of it.
Did people suspect you were gay? Did anybody ever say anything? I mean, was it well known?
Oh, yes, everybody knew we were.
Everybody knew.
They knew that we were together.
We never hid our lifestyle. We didn't flaunt it. I always introduced Kendall as my life partner.
We all had golf in common. It was very social. And, you know, that's always nice when you can feel included in anything.
The more French and Kopke pushed, the less popular they became. Over a 4-year period, they repeatedly lobbied the board to change its rules. Finally, in the middle of 2001, they decided to file a lawsuit, claiming they were discriminated against.
The turning point for me was when they sent us a letter and said that Bernardo Heights has always prided itself at being a family-oriented club. And boy, I looked at Kendall, I said, wow, you know, we're a family. And that single sentence to me, that made me very angry. It's like, how dare you? That letter made it really clear. It's like, Kendall, we're not wanted.
Feeling more and more isolated, Kopke made a personal appeal directly to her fellow members at a well-attended meeting.
I stood up with my knees knocking. I was nervous, and I said, I am really sorry. We're at this point. I said, Kendall and I are gay. You know, we were born gay. This isn't something we choose. And please find it in your heart. Some of you must know someone that's gay. I said, all we want to do is play golf together.
And what is the reaction to you standing up?
Nothing. That really, I got to tell you, that broke my heart. You know, I'm a 44-year-old woman at the time. I feel like I'm 2 years old begging for acceptance, and they're still saying, you know, no, we don't want your kind.
But I mean, you could look at it and say, you know what, ladies, this is not the back of the bus. This is not a lunch counter. This is not the workplace.
Right.
This is, you just want to play golf.
Right.
Play golf someplace else. It's not that big of a deal.
I had to look myself in the mirror 10 years later and say, boy, they pushed us out, or they scared us away, and I just couldn't run away.
In June 2002, 13 months after Kopke and French filed their lawsuit, a San Diego Superior Court delivered its decision, throwing the case out, saying in effect there was no need to go to trial because there was no evidence of discrimination.
We were just shocked, like, wait a minute, how could this just go away?
How did this happen?
Right.
How did they get away with discriminating against us?
When we first reported this story a year ago, officials at Bernardo Heights Country Club refused to speak with us. They did, however, provide their attorney, John Shiner, to explain their legal position.
I want to make very clear that Bernardo Heights Country Club has been fully compliant with the law because the law permits that distinction between those who are legally married, a union between a man and a woman, and those who are not legally married, regardless of their sexual orientation.
I guess if you listen to Kendall and to Bee, you will hear them say, well, we're a family just like anybody else. Why not just open the door and let them in then?
Well, I understand that argument, and they've raised that before. And a club, a society, an association has the choice, so long as the choice that they make is compliant with the law.
And it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
But just when Kopke and French thought their case was dead in the water, the controversy caught the eye of the Lambda Legal Defense Fund, one of the most powerful gay rights groups in the country.
Mr. Shiner says, and I'll quote, this has absolutely nothing to do with sexual orientation.
You know, he keeps saying that, and I find it very strange. Bee and Kendall cannot get the benefits that married people are given by this club because they're two lesbians. How could that not have something to do with sexual orientation?
John Davidson is one of Lambda's top litigators and was handling Kopke and French's appeal, free of charge. When Davidson successfully argued the case all the way to the California Supreme Court,
till death do we part. Till death do we part.
He knew that set against the highly charged backdrop of the gay marriage debate in the middle of the 2004 presidential election, this case was clearly about more than just golf.
Because the union of a man and woman deserves an honored place in our society, I support the protection of marriage against activist judges.
Because same-sex couples can't get married, they're treated unequally in many respects, in taxes, in inheritance, in what happens when one of them gets sick or dies. What it's ultimately about is when is it okay for businesses to treat people differently?
And just a few weeks ago, the California Supreme Court answered that question. Based upon the Domestic Partner Act, which took effect in California in January of this year, the court ruled in Bee and Kendall's favor, stating that all businesses must afford registered domestic partners the same rights and benefits as married couples.
It took our breath away. It really took our breath away.
Because we were so excited. And you have to prepare yourself for being disappointed. So then when you hear the great news and you read, you know, from the highest court in California, it was very exciting.
You had been fighting this for more than 10 years. Was there a sense of relief that it had finally ended?
It felt good. It felt right. It's like we just wanted to play golf. Why was this made so complicated? So it was unbelievable relief and vindication. It was a good feeling.
A feeling shared by the nearly 30,000 other registered domestic couples in the state, all of whom also benefited from the ruling.
This decision affects much more than just country clubs. It affects all businesses in the state of California, and that would include lending institutions like banks and credit unions, insurance companies, membership organizations, any business that creates privileges or treats better married couples than other people.
We described you as accidental activists in the first story. Fair to describe you now as trailblazers?
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't the goal, but thank you, Bernardo Heights, because now everybody wins. And that's a really great victory for us. We're proud of that.
For its part, the Bernardo Heights Country Club recently sent a letter to all its members, recommending they vote to extend full benefits to registered domestic partners, like Kopke and French.
Yeah, baby.
Once that vote happens, the couple will be able to play their first round together as equal members of the club. A round that will be as important to them as if they were playing at Augusta.
What do you think that's going to feel like?
Be a sweet victory for us. A long-awaited victory, a very deserved victory. And it'll just be great to be able to play golf together.
Do you plan to do it with a lot of fanfare, or do you just plan to show up on your own one day?
We'll just show up one day, the two of us, we'll go play golf, we'll high-five on the first hole, and that'll be it, you know? We don't plan to make a big fuss, but our hearts will be skipping a beat.
Yeah.
While the California Supreme Court decision brought one chapter of this story to a close, Bea Kopke and Kendall French still have another lawsuit pending against the Bernardo Heights Country Club, this one for sexual discrimination. That case is expected to begin sometime this fall.